Now then, guys, how are you doing? So it's me and Alice.
Hey, you alright?
Back on sofa again. So we thought we'd do a little bit of a different vlog today, rather than going out and being our crazy selves. Well, as you can see, that's not really going to work. I'm dressed crazy. It's World Mental Health Day today.
Aye, it is.
So we thought we'd just record this little bit of a video, just to basically, one, raise awareness, because as you know, both me and Sophie, we've both struggled with his mental health over the years, for all different reasons. We've had quite a rocky path, haven't we, in life?
A roller coaster.
Yeah. That's what your dad said at my wedding. Marrying you was going to be like a roller coaster.
I still think you're the biggest roller coaster since.
He didn't tell me it was like Oblivion. But
but then it goes up.
Yeah, but it has been a bit of a roller coaster. So at the moment, it's just us. Athena may join us in a minute because she's just sleeping, so she may wake up. But we just thought that we'd talk a little bit. So obviously the struggles with me, and like Sophie said, it has been a bit of a roller coaster for me because we got together, we got married, and that was it. Mental health just went down. No, I didn't. I had a stroke or 2 strokes in a week, and the difficulties of that, I didn't tell nobody for like 18 months, and it was physio. My speech was a bit slurred, and still is on some occasions. In it, when I get tired, I suffer really bad with chronic fatigue, and this led to me through a number of reasons, which obviously I've spoke about in other videos. There were other things going off in my life, work-wise, that were contributing to stress and anxiety. But it put me in a dark place, didn't it?
Yeah, I think you spent 9 months on the sofa, watching reruns of different programmes.
Or in the bedroom. I'd lock myself in the bedroom and you wouldn't see me, would you? I'd go out and do what I've got to do, and then I'd come in and I'd lock away and I'd just sleep. And this is it, but like people would see me outside with a smile on my face. They'd see me filming. Some people did actually comment sometimes and say, Danny doesn't seem himself. There seems to be something not right here. So some people picked up on things. Obviously, I did put a bit of weight on because basically I was just in a mental, torturous cage inside my own mind that I just didn't want to do anything, and I just ate biscuits and tried to comfort myself and this and other. But if it wasn't for my little guardian angel here, who was persistent in doing what a good wife does, and that's stick by the husband no matter what. People criticise Sophie and say that it's all about money and gold digger and all this, and it is so far from the truth. Is unbelievable. If it wasn't for Sophie, then other positions that I got put in by other people would have drove me off the edge, if I'm honest with you.
The irony is a lot of people, it were about money with you. That's the irony. For other people, and that was the bonkers thing everyone was saying. I'm like, no, I'm a rubbish gold digger if I am.
She's on Sheen. It's not like
I was just going to say Timu specials here.
It's not like she's on Chanel. Do you know what I mean? She's on Sheen. So, when I first got with Sophie, she said, I've got some designer gear. What was it?
DKNY from TK Maxx.
That's it. She thought she were at top of chain.
I did.
And I thought, happy days, TK Maxx. Go blow the wad. Go for it. But you know what? When you finally got me to sort of see someone through your persistence and worry, and my family as well, my mum and dad and the kids, and your mum, everybody supported me in their own different way. And if it wasn't for everybody like sort of saying, look, come on, Dan, I've had some deep conversations with everyone, like I've said before, like apart from Sophie being my best mate, my dad's like my best mate as well. And my mum, she just worries like there's no tomorrow. She worries, if I have 1 spoonful of sugar, she's like, what's going on? What are you changing your life for?
She was even confused yesterday on YouTube. Do I watch you or do I watch Gary?
Yeah.
She was like, I don't know.
so and then like your dad's, I've had some some big intimate chats with them, and your mum and Lee, everybody's supported, and then the kids, it was a tough time for kids because they're seeing me. What you've got to think about, and this is what happens with mental health. Some people put up a shield, if you like, and when somebody say like it's Mental Health Awareness Day, right, and people just automatically think that somebody's bonkers, right? That mental health means somebody's nuts, and it's not that, because at some point in his life we're all going to suffer some part of mental health issue, be it big or small. It just depends on the severity of it, the impact it has on our life, and what tools we've got to be able to deal with that. I've got to say, like, Pinderfields Hospital gets a lot of stick, and I remember when Sophie was pregnant and she's like, oh, I don't want to have Athena in Pinders because she had a bad experience with them. But to be fair, when Athena was born, they were great. When I had the 2 strokes, they were amazing. And the support that I got from the psychiatric doctor there just brought me back to life, give me coping strategies, and enable me to speak to someone without feeling like I'm going to hurt somebody's feelings or upset someone, or they actually listen. And I know, like, I'm not saying that you don't listen or anybody else.
It's a different thing.
When there's emotion involved, it's difficult because you think, am I doing enough for that person? As it is. So, I think what I want to say on this is that mental health comes in all shapes and sizes, comes in all different forms. Somebody might be smiling, but that smiling might be their coping strategy. Somebody might, it's like me, 6-7 weeks ago, I was in a rut. I decided to change my working life. And people have said, Danny, you look a lot better, you sound a lot better, And yet I do, but it's still a struggle. It's still, that doesn't mean it's fixed, right? You've still got to do these things that, like for me, I've still got to do these processes. I've still got to make sure that, checking in on myself, right? I'm lucky enough that the support I've got around me, people do that for me. And, I've got like people at the Silverbacks rugby league team, they're amazing, big, massive group of rugby league lads. And they've got everyone's back, and it's just absolutely class. Johnny and Dave, I'm in regular contact with them, they're just amazing. And then I've got like, LDC, Dan and Matt from radio, they've been a lifesaver for me as well, haven't they?
Yeah, and for me actually as well, it's all these family and friends, they've not only supported you, they've given me the confidence to make sure that,
like with that situation,
I don't listen to you sometimes in the sense of when you need support.
Radio advertising is difficult, and the radio's been suffering over the last 6 or 7 months. We've found it really difficult. But because I've been the way that I have, at one point I met with Dan and Mark, and I said, I said to you, I'm going to step back. I'm going to hand my shares over to them because I can't do what I promised to do. And their answer to it was, don't be stupid. We need to support you, not to boot you out. And I can't thank them enough for that. And I've not done what I said I'd do on tin because I've not been able to. But I'm getting there. I'm getting back to it. I'm getting back into radio soon, and I'm going to give it my all. I've just got to structure my life out, and that's it. Different things happen for different reasons. But I think one of the main reasons why I wanted to come on here today as well and talk on Mental Health Awareness Day is about my beautiful wife, and about how you have definitely been the glue that has held us together. Definitely, without a shadow of a doubt. And, you've taught me so much.
I think I'm a bit more like blue tack.
Yeah.
Unless...
You've taught me so much over the last few years, and it's weird because we both gravitated towards each other in life at difficult times, and out of that we've blossomed, and I couldn't love someone more than I love you. It'd be impossible, I know that. But you want to talk about you, don't you?
Yeah. Well, it's not like, yeah, it's all about me, baby, because I know people love you. But it was more,
No, do you know what
I
it is?
felt like an urge.
But before you go into this,
Yeah.
I just want to say, if you've suffered or you're suffering with any mental health illness / disability, right, there is help out there. Please seek it. Please talk. But for all the people that have this Sophie, this is the one and only time I'm going to say shame on you, all right, because she gets a lot of grief for basically just because the way she looks, the way she talks, the way that people think that, there's an age difference between us. And what she's about to talk about is very difficult, right, and is 100% true, 100% on the nose. But if you think about her having to deal with this, not just over the last few years, but all her life, and then the last couple of years of our life, having to deal with me and what's changed in me and my mental attitude, my mood swings up and down because, having a stroke creates brain damage. So it has affected me in a lot of different ways. So there's a lot of things that you don't see on camera. I can be grumpy, I can be upset. I can't process thoughts quick enough sometimes than what I used to do. So it can take me a little bit of time to process if there's something that I'm not sure about. So for Sophie to do what she's done for me and our family with what she's been going through is absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
And honestly,
You made me very emotional now.
You were ready to go.
Yeah, but now I'm emotional.
And this, again, we've had discussions about this. I didn't tell anybody about the stroke for 18 months because I wanted to try and sort myself out before. And now I talk about it, and I talk about mental health because it's something that we need to do. And I want to say to people, there is help out there. There can be light at the end of the tunnel, but it's bloody hard work. It's hard work. It's not a quick take a pill and have a chat. It is far from that. It is hard work, and do you know what? If I could liken this to anything, I don't drink, I don't take drugs, but I've worked with forward leads with addiction, and I can see I've seen what addiction does to people, and I sort of liken it sometimes to that mental health can be. It's like an addiction, not where you're addicted to it, but it's the stuff that it does. The outcome of things is very similar to having an addiction, but you're not on drugs and alcohol, if you sort of get what I mean.
Yeah.
So, over to you.
Well, I think that's what I've learned a lot from Danny as well, is I was actually the opposite. Danny was very closed and kind of put on a smile. I just naturally smile no matter what. That's my resting face, resting smile face. I'm just a very open book and oversharer. But then I learned this thing, guard your heart. And I have learned from you to sometimes wait until you're ready to talk about it. And I think those who know my past, I don't need to go into it, but I had a very colourful, challenging past.
Yeah, we have got a book.
I've got a book.
There's a book out that talks about your past, which, I'll be honest with you, I've read a third of it because I love Sophie so much. I can't read any more of that because it was just heartbreaking for me to read, and it'd probably send me off the rail, to be honest. I'd be wanting to do things to people that I shouldn't. But it is tough. And then also, like before I met you as well, you were quite open online. But correct me if I'm wrong here, and I'm quite happy for you to. But you were quite erratic.
Yeah.
In the way that you posted things, because it was raw emotion.
Yeah. I was too still in it.
Yeah, and sometimes it come across in a different way than what the situation actually was.
Yeah. I think I'd leaned too much into the everything happens for a reason. And I saw that it was my mission just to talk about my mental health and not to show you the good. Like, I did show you the good, but that I had to share all what I was going through to help others. But at the same time, I don't think I was helping myself. If anything, I think I was making myself more vulnerable then. Whereas now I'm a lot stronger, and obviously we're
But that
settled.
is why I think, because we now know what your struggles have been because of, it becomes a lot clearer on why Sophie did certain things or were erratic in certain ways.
And why I find it easier talking to a camera than I do humans.
Yes.
That was the thing as well.
And sometimes with any mental health, with any illness, you know yourselves, you can go to doctors, something can be wrong with you, and it can be months, years on a waiting list before you get spoken to. And that could just be to something with your knee or your finger. You know, dentist sometimes is 6 months, and this is how it is. But Sophie, she's 36 years old, and this is something that's been a lifelong thing for her. And throughout her life, she's suffered a lot of abuse. Let's put it out there, a lot of abuse from people, a lot of manipulation, because I've said this to you before when I first got with you. I said to you that I could see that there were people around Sophie that were manipulating the situation and manipulating what they wanted her to do and how they wanted her to do things, and it was quite easy to do that.
My house was just a thoroughfare, basically, as well, to help people.
I mean, I'm sat here one day and some old bloke walks in to take dog for a walk with a newspaper, but he's just in and out, no knocking on the door out, and it's just your kind heart, your kind nature. But then obviously, about a month ago, 2 months ago.
Yes, I think it was about 2 months ago, wasn't it? It was when you were in Benidorm? Mallorca.
So and I, leading up to this, the last few, obviously I've had my difficulties, but through all that as well, me and Sophie still work as a team, and I'm still trying to support her with her difficulties.
You do. You're my ally, my advocate.
A lot of people just thought she was that crazy lady, which is ludicrous.
I am slightly crazy.
She is a little bit nuts, but that's why I love
but
her.
in a nice way.
But yeah, so...
Yeah, so those who don't know, like, a bit about my past, I got diagnosed from a young age with different things like depression, severe anxiety, psychosis episodes, and lots of different taglines. Then later on, when I was at uni and doing my master's, dyslexia, dyspraxia and stuff. And I did feel like I was just ticking boxes and nothing seemed to make sense. And it would just felt silly because I was like, oh my gosh, I've got every tick. But I kept trying to say to people, yes, I struggle with things, but it's not necessarily always like a low mood or it's normally something's happened, I've gone and then I've gone low.
Yeah.
So they tested me for like bipolar and stuff, but that's also a commonly people think they've got bipolar until you actually get like properly tested, that you don't properly know because it's a lot more complex than people think. And it wasn't that, so they still didn't know what it was. And obviously I had an eating disorder, so then that masked it, and then people know who've been through trauma and abuse and stuff and court cases and all that then they all focus on that. And I said, in a weird way, they're the things to me that are the easiest to manage, because you get counselling for that, you get help for that, and there's like a bit more of a support. It's when there's something at the core that's challenging, which probably led to a lot of the different things that happened to me. That's what I was trying to get to the bottom of, because especially since I've met you, my mood's been so much better, and setting boundaries and stuff, and I've managed.
Yeah, can I just tell a little story?
Go on.
So, and this is, like Sophie, when I first met Sophie...
He loves the story.
It was wonderful, right? We were out, we still do have fun, but we were out, we were having fun, we were like kids again. I mean, we're at bowling and we're dancing as we're going down bowling alley, and everybody's looking at us like, who are these crazy two? But we didn't care that there were people there, and we just had the time of our lives, and it was great. But other aspects of Sophie's life, obviously, I'm coming into her home, and I'm sitting down and people are toing and throwing and this, that, other. And I could see the anxiety that she's suffering and the worry and how frightened she was with different things. So I said to her, you're a strong, independent woman. And she looked at me and she's like, what are you on about? And I says, right, every day when you get up, just look in the mirror for me. And at the bottom of her stairs, she had this massive mirror. I said, just go to that, do me a favour. And I said, it might sound stupid, but just go and look at yourself and say, I'm a strong, independent woman. So she did. And you were doing it, weren't you? And a few incidents occurred, like she had a few phone calls about different things and people putting pressure on her to either do this or do that. And I said to her, what do you want to do? So she says, well, I don't want to do that. And I went, you're a strong, independent woman. And you just found this fire. And it lit this fire inside her. And she started saying to people...
That was from you.
No, I don't want to do that. So I'm not doing that. And this is what happens when you've got toxic people around you. They can put you in positions where you feel like you've got to do what they say. I've been there. You've been there. And, it's unfortunately some situations you're going to be involved with people because of different things, work, kids, and they're never going to be out of your life because of certain things. But you've got to a stage now where you'll just say, no, this is what I want.
Yeah. Well, I go, Danny. Oh, no.
No, you
I'm a strong independent.
but you do it now and you've got a lot better.
Yeah, no, I have got better.
And it backfired.
I don't think I want to.
Backfired because she did it to me.
It started?
No. What? Well, I want to do this, love. Well, I don't. I'm a strong, independent woman. Yeah. Well, fair enough. So, but sorry, so I just wanted to say that because those little things, when you've got support of somebody that's like saying to you that can see that other people are taking advantage.
Although a little fact that you got wrong in your story, you said you came in and sat down.
Well, she didn't have a sofa.
I didn't have a sofa or a bed.
You didn't have a chair. You had a chair.
I had a chair.
Weirdo.
But you helped me feel like I was worthy enough for a decent bed that was actually functioning.
For pole dancing.
And also, that was just fun for me in lockdown on my own. Anyway, but yeah, so basically there's been lots of support. I've been really lucky. I've had good mental health nurses over the years and different things. And everyone's always gone, there's something else here because you cope with a lot and your mood, it varies, but it's often a culmination of stuff that's happening in your life and trying to get order, and there's a lot of interruption and stuff. And so I got loads of tests, and then people said, have you ever been tested for like autism, ADHD? And I was like, well, no, because you kind of hear online you kind of hear the stereotypes of them, and you're like, oh, stereotypical, ADHD, stereotypical autism, definitely not. But then after a long time, like probably 3-4 years on a waiting list for autism and ADHD, both my appointments came at once.
Yeah, it was horrible for you. Because she had to have these on the phone appointments. One that were trying to assess ADHD and one that were trying to assess autism. But then obviously anybody that's got autism or ADHD will suffer with that kind of thing, especially with them both together. So it was quite intense.
Because they're a lot more intense than people think. It's not just a flippant diagnosis of like, oh, do you meet this? So you do all the tick boxes in advance, but that's really hard paperwork. There's loads of paperwork and they do loads of tests, and then you get the diagnosis appointments and they're long form. But yeah, so basically I did have my ADHD and also my autism, and weirdly they both came like to fruition when Danny was away, and I was like, oh gosh. And I was getting really anxious about it all because I thought, what if I've shared all this and know what's wrong with me and I'm actually fine? So yeah, I got diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. They don't call it like different things anymore. It's just a spectrum, innit?
Well, it's always been a spectrum.
Yeah, it's always been a spectrum, but I think people have like...
And it's like a lot of people, to get diagnosed with autism 20 years ago was really, really difficult because it was still, people trying to get to grips with it. Now, like, the waiting list is so long, but without a doubt, and I said this...
Oh, yeah, you said it.
As soon as I met you, didn't I? And I wasn't being funny, but I said to her, I think you need to get tested. And it come back, autism and ADHD.
Yeah, and you get 2 separate tests for it. So it was grueling, but then also like it was weird because I thought I'd be like happy that I'd got some answers, but then it was also quite
it was upsetting because I'll say, because I know
Yeah,
you're going to get
sorry.
upset. So with Sophie, she were expecting, she knew that she had, right? She knew that there were difficulties. But what happened then afterwards, and I wasn't here, which was even harder for her to deal with, was when she got the results, was things that have gone on in her life, incidents that's happened to her. This then explains why a lot of these incidents have happened, because Sophie's got autism, she's got ADHD, but more so with the autism, with different things within the triad of impairments. And I know a lot about this because
You studied it.
I studied it. It's the sort of first job I went into, and I studied autism a lot. This is why when I met Sophie, I said, we need to do these things, and this is why a lot of things that when we got together, I changed certain things in a routine, put things in place that I knew would help her, and this is why it helped her. Here she is, look.
You joining club.
But Sophie's suffered, like she said, different things, different bits of abuse. A lot of financial abuse. People call her a gold digger, but she's not. There's a lot of people that have financially abused her. To the point where people have taken her to court for money, where they've done a bogus contract, taken her to court, and she's having to pay this money now. But then when, it's a bitter pill to swallow when you realise that she actually, is this financial abuse? That's what I've said, innit?
Yeah.
It is, because they've coerced her into this thing. So that's a story for another day.
There's a lot of things in my life as well, even if I look back to the really dark times that I took literally.
Yeah.
And even the eating disorder, I ended up being hospitalised with the eating disorder. And again, now I realise it's to do with the textures of food. It's not, because I've never been a calorie counter. It's been the textures and different things. So even now I have certain things with foods that I'm a bit weird. But then you've helped me with food as well.
Yeah, so Sophie were told by certain people in her life, don't eat this, don't eat that, count your calories. You've turned your mic on. Count the calories, eat this, eat that, don't eat this. And sorry, if she starts pushing buttons, we've got a problem. All right, hopefully that'll come back on. And this become really difficult for her, because it caused her to have then eating disorders, because she's listening to these people that go to the gym or are fit as a fiddle, but it's not good for her. It's not good for her. So Sophie just felt that she wanted to come on and talk about this. We will talk about Sophie's journey in a bit more detail on our channel, but for now, it's not a thing for sympathy. It's not, we've got a lot to deal with now. Sophie's got a lot to learn and take in.
I'm trying out meds, aren't I?
Yeah, but the main thing is that when she got that news, it stuck her in a bit of a rabbit hole because of all the things that's happened to her in the past. And if she'd have had this diagnosis, maybe these things wouldn't have happened. Maybe they wouldn't, maybe they still would, because unfortunately there are some people out there that are still just nasty people and take advantage. But now we're moving on.
Yeah, we are, and I think you've inspired me with how open you've now been, but also with waiting until you were ready, and that's the same with me. And also I just felt like I had an itch to not mention it really deeply all the time, but just mention it in the sense of when people talk about my behaviour or whatever, not as an excuse, but kind of just to be like, oh gosh, this is my ADHD or whatever. But I didn't want to mention it in a video like that, and people to think that I was just picking words out of the bag, because ADHD and autism are like genuine diagnosis, and it's hard to get, but also it's more that it does have a really like difficult, I love aspects of it, and I absolutely like it. I really, really hate some of it, but that's what I'm lucky to have you around and working on, because they're not just being a bit clumsy and being a bit disorganised. It's the meltdowns.
I love your clumsiness.
Yeah,
I love
you
how
got used to the Wreck-It Ralph.
It's sometimes it gets on my nerves on certain situations, but I know it's you, and this is it. People try to change you. They try to say that, oh, she don't do this, she don't put lid on toothpaste. I mean, some people are stupid. What? Not putting lid on toothpaste, come on, you plank. But, for me, you're amazing.
Thank you.
Right? What you do, for me and our family, you're amazing. And I just want to say to you guys, you're amazing. Everybody is. When me and Sophie first got together, we were doing YouTube and what have you, we did a thing, mental health podcast, and we decided we're going to do that again at least once a month, because we've seen from me and Sophie talking, different people relate to it. Yep, there's going to be some trolls coming on, and you know what, come on, say what you want to say, because we'll just kick you straight off, because we're not bothered. We want this to be all about positivity. This isn't us saying, oh wow, look at us. This is us saying, look, we have these difficulties in life, but we've still got a family, we've still got a home, we've still got jobs.
And we've been at points where we haven't had homes and haven't had jobs.
We go on holiday and you can still have fun, but you need the support. So we're here for you guys. It's World Mental Health Day, right? If you want to ask me and Sophie any questions, please put them in. If we can, the only thing we can do is talk about our experience and how we've dealt with it. We're not trained to give advice, but we can give real life situations and what we've done to overcome them. I'm sure in the coming months when we we're going to do this mental health sort of episode once a month at least, and we just hope that you can join in and you can relate, and if people want to be part of the community with us with that, happy days. If you don't, then please just leave us to it, because we just want to help people. All right?
And I really appreciate people's own lived experience people share and then comment on others, because we have one experience, you might have another, and then you might see somebody's comment and go, oh, actually I get that, and it's so helpful. So thank you.
And this is an unedited episode. It's going to go on as fresh as it is now. I know it's nearly 34 minutes long, and I apologise, but it's something
now.
But it's something that we just felt we wanted to talk about and share today. So we wish you all the love and happiness in the world. If you're struggling, please seek support. If unfortunately there's some people out there that haven't got friends and family, which is heartbreaking, but we've all got access to NHS. Please go see your doctor. Please look at the support groups that's around for different mental health groups, support groups for autism and ADHD, support groups for stroke survivors. Everything, anything, there's support for everything. You just need to find it. Google is a fantastic tool. So Sophie's going to make the toast. So from me and Sophie, thank you very much for listening. We hope we haven't bored you too much. We tried to put a little bit of humour into something that's difficult. Take care. We love you loads. And we'll be back soon. Much love to you guys.